Here is my servant, whom I uphold, my chosen one, in whom I delight. I will put my spirit on him. He will bring justice to the nations. He will not shout or cry out, or raise his voice in the streets. Then he goes on to describe this servant of the Lord, but I want you to focus on something here. Where is it? Sing to the Lord a new song, his praise from the ends of the earth. You who go down to the sea, and that is in it, you islands, and all who lives in them. Let the witness and his town raises their voices. Let the settlement where Kedah lives rejoice. Let the people of Selah sing for joy. So there's two names here, Kedah, okay, and there is Selah. If you go to Genesis 25:13, it tells you who's Kedah. 25:13. Here. Watch this. 12 here. Yeah. These are the names of the sons of who? Ishmael. Listed in the order of their birth. Nabioth, the firstborn of Ishmael. Kedah. So, if you Google Selah, mountain of Selah is in Medina. So this prophecy, I've been speaking to even Jewish rabbis. They differ. Some of them said it's speaking about Jacob. How is this is after Jacob? Some of them said no, it's speaking about someone who's coming after. But who is he? Because we know, historically speaking, the only prophet that came from the lineage of Kedah is Prophet Muhammad, especially after Isaiah. Isaiah is after Solomon and David. So the only prophet that came from Kedah, and he said, let the people of Selah sing. And Selah, if you Google it, mountain of Selah is in Saudi. So this prophecy, the question we should ask ourselves, how men that lived in the middle of nowhere 1,400 years ago knew about something that is here. Selah, mountain in Saudi. Yeah, Medina, more specific in Medina. And we know when the Prophet Muhammad went to Medina, the people of Medina rejoiced for him coming to them. Because the people of Mecca, they were pagans at that time, and they tried to harm him and kill him. And he went to people of Medina, and people say Islam is spread by sword. But there is no religion that entered to a city and the whole city accepted it without any force or anything. Except Medina, Islam. Islam entered Medina without forcing no one. The whole Medina, except few people, but majority of Medina people accept Islam without any sword, nothing, none of that, without any fight, none of that. So what I'm saying to you, that also, who knows the future in details? God. Yes? Even in the Bible says here, it says, how do you know true prophet? True prophet that prophesies about the future. And we know Prophet Muhammad prophesies many prophecies. For example, he said, will come a time when the interest will become widespread. Majority of people will be involved in it. As for those who will not be involved in it, they will be affected by it. And we know now, interest in anything now. It's like, before it was not like that. You understand? Let alone 1,400 years ago. Now with the banks, even if you don't pay the penalty, they put interest on you. You want to go study, they borrow you money, but you have to pay with interest and all of that. So another prophecy, Prophet Muhammad said, there will come a time when he said the barefooted Arab man. Who? The barefoot Arab man. Competing in building tall buildings. Let me ask you, where is the tallest building in the world? In Dubai. No, Dubai, Kuala Lumpur, a long time ago. Dubai now. And who's competing with them now? Saudi. So the question that when the Prophet Muhammad prophesied about that, there was no sign to indicate that will happen. How we knew that? To show you that we as the Muslims, we don't believe Islam is the truth or Prophet Muhammad is a true prophet because we're just born in Muslim countries. No, because we can establish with the tangible proofs, with the logical proofs that Islam is the truth, without any doubt. Another thing Prophet Muhammad said about the future, he said there will come a time when a person will make up a lie and will spread all the way to the east and to the west by a morning. Wait. Prophet Muhammad lived How long ago? 1,400 years ago. He said a person will make up a lie. By a morning, it will spread all the way to the east, to the west. And we know 500 years back, just from London to Birmingham, it will take you more than 2 days. Let alone from the east to the west. And we know now, put your lie in internet, person in China will read it. In WhatsApp, will reach the east and the west. The question, how? Yeah, how we knew that? It's so detailed. Not randomly, it's so detailed. So it's not in detail and specific. That's the question we ask ourselves. Because what you have to understand as well, that, for example, do you accept the Bible is being changed?
Probably New Testament, yeah.
New Testament. Not even the Old Testament, to be honest. Because the Old Testament, like for example, there is many contradictions in the stories of David. Even about God. For example, let me ask you this question. God is perfect. Without any doubt. You know? Regrets. Where is regrets? Regrets when you do something and you don't know the outcome of it. Correct? For example, if I choose this brother to take care of my camera here, then I go away, I come back, I cannot find my camera. I say, why I left it with him? Because I never knew. Because I had deficiency in my knowledge that I never expected he would take it away. But we read in the Bible, in the Old Testament, Genesis, likewise in Samuel, that God greatly regrets for choosing Saul as a king because Saul turned his back on him. That's not the nature of the Most High. Allah said in the Quran, if Allah decrees something, He does not fear the outcome of it, because Allah knows everything. You with me? Likewise, the way the prophets and messengers been spoken about in the Old Testament, that's not nice. For example, how you believe a prophet of God will sleep with his own daughters?
That's harsh. He was tricked.
Yeah, it's not about tricks. The prophets, God will always save his prophets and messengers from falling into destructive sins.
There was
Getting
something
him
you
drunk.
said that was really interesting about regret.
Yeah.
There's another part in Genesis.
Genesis.
I think, when God regrets the creation of man.
Man, yeah, that's it. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and also another one, Prophet David. Prophet David, in the Quran, the prophets and messengers, they are the best examples. But in the Old Testament, there were criminals, there were liars, there were deceivers, there were rapists. That's not the prophets of God. David, according to the Old Testament, he set up his own friend because he wanted to sleep with his wife. So he said to the army, go fight, put him in the front. When the enemy come, leave him alone to get killed just to sleep with his wife. That is not the prophet of God. That's the prophet of Satan. You know, God will never. God is the most wise, correct? God is the most high, correct? The most wise, the most high God will not choose a liar and an evil person to convey his message. You with me? Yes. It's like you, imagine you are a king and you want to send an ambassador to another country. What you do? You choose the best one, correct? But we're not more wiser than God. Understand? That's why Prophet Quran came to say, yes, Moses was a great messenger. Jesus was a great messenger. Yes, God spoke to Moses. Yes, God spoke to Jesus through Gabriel. However, the previous scripture has been corrupted and there's a lot of lies against God and his prophets and messengers. And if this is the case, logic dictates that God will not leave us with a corrupted book to worship him based upon. He will give us what? Clarification. Because he's the most wise. And we believe that is the Quran. Understand? Even in the Quran there's a prophecy Allah mentioned, وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. We have reviewed the Quran in a way it's easy for people to memorize it. And we know there is 100 million of people memorize the Quran, word by word, letter by letter. Some of them do not even speak the Arabic language. Some of them, they do speak Arabic, but they make mistakes in the grammar and the pronunciation. But when they read the Quran, they read it perfectly. For example, to make the picture clearer to everyone, is that me and you speak in English, and I say me, no come in, no tomorrow, me no. Then you bring English dictionary, I read it perfectly. Then you bring me Shakespeare's poems, I read it perfectly. Say no, you're taking a mic. You just read English dictionary perfectly. You read Shakespeare's poem perfectly. Now when we speak having normal conversation, you start telling me no coming, no today, no tomorrow. You understand? So the Quran, because Quran is a speech of Allah. So when the people recite it, the way they recite it is perfectly. You understand? And there is no book upon the face of the earth. It's been memorized word by word, letter by letter, by 100 million of people except the Quran. And if this is the case of the book, therefore we will never be lost. How much memorized? 50 chapters. Yeah, chapters. So. Yeah, 50 hizb. So a lot of chapters. You say, so it's already there. He has one hizb and it will be there. You see, so that's the beauty of the Quran. So what I'm saying to you, brother, yeah, that when you read and analyze how Islam is based upon, clearly makes sense. You know, so that's what we're here for. We are to invite the people to become a Muslim, to accept Islam. Yes, as a Christian, if you are a true follower of Jesus, that will lead you to Islam. Just as we say to the Jews, if you are a true follower of Moses, that will lead you to believe in Jesus. Because why? All of them came with the same message. As the Messenger of Allah said, he said the prophets, they had different legislation, but they came with the same foundation. Like the legislation of Jesus was specific for that time. The legislation of Moses was specific for that time. The legislation of Abraham, the same thing. The legislation of Prophet Muhammad is for everyone. Why? Because the logic dictates if he's the last prophet, therefore his teaching has to be for everyone. And we know Jesus clearly was not sent to everyone. What do you think what I said so far?
Who was Jesus sent to?
To the Israelites. Yeah, to the Israelites. What do you think what I said so far to you? Does it make sense?
I haven't read it.
Do you have questions? Do you want to ask any questions?
Good stuff. If you predicted all this stuff.
You have to think, because why? A person that predicted or prophesied about all of this, which we can observe in our time, cannot be normal man. Especially, we know there is the biggest war in our time is against Islam. The war that is being waged against Islam, if it was waged against any religion, that religion would be buried long time ago. However, people say we force people to accept Islam. Islam is spreading in the West without using a spoon or a fork. We're not using nothing. But people accept Islam. Why? Because Islam goes in line with a sound reasoning and natural inclination. Sound, not corrupted natural inclination. What I mean by that, the people that say it's okay for a man to marry animals. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who have a sound reasoning and a sound natural inclination. Islam goes in line with them. You understand? And if you have any question, I don't know everything. Yeah, 1 second. Oh, yeah, I'm just gonna give him something. Yeah.
My question is that when you read the Bible,
Yeah.
when you read,
Can I? What is it? So 1 second. Yeah, go on.
when you talk about Jesus and you talk about his way of life,
Yeah.
you talk about forgiveness, you talk about even if you've done bad in your life,